From June of 1933 to March of 1934, the Japanese Navy built the two CH-1 class subchasers of only 266 tons. Nope, no names. The idea for these two and the following classes as a whole were based on a few things. The first was how effective U-boats had been in World War I. Obviously, they didn't tip the balance, but it was no secret they came very close a couple times to shutting down the UK, of which Japan was an ally. And just like the UK, Japan was an island nation virtually totally dependent on imports, especially of food and oil. Yes, they could and did use coal, but that wasn't as thermally efficient as oil. Also, Asian coal is relatively high in sulfur, which hurts its quality even more. Second, and tied to the first, was the US's contemporary V classes. Not that the Vs had the numbers, tactics, or actual abilities to decide a war, but rather it was what they represented. Previous US subs had been in comparatively small, slow, and short-ranged boats. The Vs, on the other hand, were large and, at least on paper, fast, long-range boats meant to operate far from home. Clearly, even without saying it, their intended target was obvious. So, to protect their vital shipping lanes, Japan started this class of anti-submarine escorts. They weren't fancy, but didn't really need to be. Even still, though, being IJN ships of the early 30s, they came out with serious top-weight problems. For example, as completed, their deck was just 5 feet above the waterline. After the Tomozuru incident, they had to go back in and have permanent ballast added and their hull stiffened. This made them more stable, but increased their weight to 376 tons and lowered their top speed from 24 to 21 knots. Propulsion was provided by 2 diesels driving 2 propellers. Armament was 2 single 40mm guns, 14 depth charges, later raised to 36, and a depth charge thrower. They were fitted with sonar. Between 1935 and 1936, a third ship, CH-3, was built to the modified specification. These were followed by the CH-4 class, CH-4 through 12, that were built between late 1937 through early 1939. They essentially had the same equipment as the earlier ships, but because they could be designed with the lessons of the Tomozuru and Fourth Fleet incidents, their weight dropped back down to 291 tons. Top speed remained about 21 knots, though. These were in turn followed by the CH-13 class, CH-13 through 27, that were built between mid-1934 through the start of 1942. At 438 tons, they were much heavier, and because they had the same 2 diesels running 2 propellers, their speed dropped to 16 knots. Armament was a bow-mounted 76mm 40 caliber gun and 36 depth charges with launchers and sonar. The final group was the CH-28 class, CH-28 through 58, 60, 61, and 63, that were built from late 1941 through October 1944. These were repeats of the CH-13s with a stern that was modified to improve their turning diameter, make them handle better in rough waters, and faster to produce. During the war, some were fitted with Type 22 radar. As could be expected, their main area of operation during the war was the Japan to East Indies route along with the Northern Solomons area. Being small convoy escorts, they mostly got chewed up by submarines and aircraft as the war went on, even as they had to fall back again and again back toward home waters or were pinned down in the East Indies. For this guy, anyway, the most notable were CH's 25 and 27, which were sunk July 15, 1942, near Kiska by the daring but ill-fated Grunion. So, how did they do? Well, CH-18 helped sink the Amberjack. Also, CH-43 was part of the group that apparently sank the Wahoo. In all, only about 60 of these small ships were built over about a 10-year period by an island nation almost totally dependent on imports. Oopsie.